First of all, you need a drone. I'm using SEMA X5SW. You need a full charge battery for the drone. Then you need an Arduino. You can either use Arduino Uno or Nano. Then you need two motors with hooks on them. Then you need a puppet. You can use either a boy or a girl, but we won't use the girl. And you need a stepper motor driver controller board module L298N. Dual H bridge. We will talk about that later. Then you need a wireless Bluetooth transceiver. And as always, you need a jumper wires. Okay, now we will connect the H bridge to the Arduino. But wait, why do we need an H bridge? The H bridge allows us to control the path of the current, so we can change it and reverse it. And why do we need to do that? Because we are using DC motors, and the difference between DC motors and servo motors is that the DC motor can rotate only one way around, and we need the hook to go up and down. And because of that, we use the H bridge to change the rotation as we like. Now, to connect the H bridge to the Arduino, we will connect the enable pin to pin number 9 on the Arduino. Now we can control the speed and the power that the H bridge gives the DC motors. Now we will connect the other 4 pins to pins number 8, 7, 2 and 4 on the Arduino. Okay, after we did that, now we need to connect the motors, the DC motors, to the H bridge. We can connect one here. We have the plus and the minus, the negative and the positive currents, and the other one on the other side. That's it. As you can see, we connected the first motor to the right side and the second motor to the left side of the H bridge. Now what is left to do is to connect the H bridge to the power source, which is the 5 volts and the ground pins of the Arduino. As you can see, this is the 5 volts and this is the ground. Now we will connect the Bluetooth wireless module. And why do we need that? Because we want to control the movement of the puppet via Bluetooth. Very cool, huh? But be careful, the module works only with 3.3 volts. 5 volts kills it. So we will connect the module to the 3.3 volts of the Arduino, and we will connect the TX pin to the module to the RX pin of the Arduino, and the RX pin of the module to the TX pin of the Arduino. As you can see, we connected the RX and the TX of the module to the TX and the RX pins of the Arduino, which are pins number 0 and 1. As you can see, we connected everything. Now we will go to the code. Okay, so let's check the code. But before checking the code, I want to show you something. This is my screen, and above my screen are the 2 motors. And there's the Arduino, and the H bridge is behind the screen. So let's check the code. This is the loop. Before checking the loop, let's see the setup. As you remember, we set up pin number 7 and pin number 8 to be the negative and the positive sides of the first DC motor. Pin 9 of the H-bridge controls the speed and the power that we give each motor. Pin number 4 and pin number 2 are the positive and the negative pins of the second DC motor. Okay, so now let's check the loop function. In the loop function, as you can see, we give a high current to the negative side of the DC motor, the first DC motor, and we give a low current to the positive side of the DC motor, which means now this DC motor is moving clockwise, which means the hook is getting down, and we do that for a second. Then we give both sides a low current, which means nothing happens. Now we do the other side. We give the negative side a low current and the positive side a high current, and we do that for 1.5 seconds, which means now the hook gets up again. And we do that the same thing for pins number 8 and 7 for the second DC motor. Okay, so let's check that out. Let's see the motors and let's check what happens when I connect the Arduino. I already uploaded the code before, so let's check that out. As you can see, the first DC motor gets down, then gets up. Then the second DC motor gets down and gets up. And this is our loop. It will continue doing that as long as we give the Arduino power. But we don't want that. We want to control when every DC gets down and up. Okay, so now to control whether we want the first DC motor to move or the second one, I made a little changes to the code. Let's check them out. Okay, first of all, I wrote serial.begin, which means I open the connection between the serial and the Arduino. So now we can send commands to the Arduino via the serial. Okay, then I wrote a new function which I named it moveRight, which is basically copy and paste of the code that I showed you earlier that controls the right DC motor. And I did the same thing to another function which I named it moveLeft, which is also a copy and paste of the code that I showed you earlier that moves the left DC motor. Okay, now inside the loop I added an integer variable which I named it state. I gave it 5 for no reason. You could give anything you want. Then I checked if the serial is available, which means that someone send a command to the Arduino. I will put whatever he sends into states. Then I check. If state is 0, then I move the right motor. I called the motor right function that I showed you earlier. If the state is 1, I do the same thing for the left motor. But if the state is 2, I do something funny. I make a random number, then randomly I move either the right motor or the left motor. Okay, so let's check that out. Let's open the serial monitor. Then let's give it 0. And if you remember, 0 will move the right DC motor. Let's hit enter. And the right DC motor gets down, then gets up. Let's give it 1. 1 will move the left DC motor. Down and up. And it wrote for us, moving right motor and moving left motor. Let's check the random function. Let's give it 2. As you can see, randomly, it chose to move the right DC motor. And it wrote for us, it printed for us, we randomly chose to move right motor. Let's check it again. 2, and it moved the right motor again. Let's check it again. Oh, now it chose to move the left motor. As you can see now, we control which DC motor moves. The next step is to send these commands via Bluetooth. Okay, so now after we control the motors via serial monitor, we want to control them via Bluetooth. As you can see, this is the Bluetooth module, and as you can see, it's blinking, which means it's not connected. So let's get an app to connect to the Bluetooth module. The app is called Bluetooth Terminal. We get into the app, then we search for the module. As you can see, it's called HC06. We click on it, and as you can see, when it gets connected, it stopped blinking. Now we get back to the motors. Then in the app, we can send commands to the Bluetooth, to the Arduino. Let's send 0, and as you can see, the right motor gets down, then up. Let's send 1 and send. And as you can see, the left motor gets down, then up. Okay, now let's try the random function. Let's send 2 to the Arduino. And as you can see, it shows randomly to move the left motor, and it wrote for us. We randomly chose to move left motor. Let's try it again. Let's send 2, and again it randomly chose to move left motor. Let's try again. Let's try again. As you can see, now it shows randomly to move the right motor, and it wrote for us. It printed for us. We randomly chose to move right motor. So as you can see now, with our phone, we can control both of the motors, randomly and not randomly. Okay, so as you can see, this is the puppet. It is connected with the hooks to the 2 motors on the drone. This is the app. It is ready, and this is the drone's controller. And let's dance. Let's put some music, and let's send some commands. Let's send 000. Send. And as you can see, the puppet is dancing. As you can see, the drone is moving the puppet like a puppet master. Let's send another command. As you can see, it's getting down and up randomly. It is dancing.